it made me want to stand up because I'm like, is anybody else looking at this? Does anybody else see it like I see it? Because it's ridiculous.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Finding a Way, a podcast for positive change. Our aim is to highlight the brightest hearts and minds in the East Bay and across the globe, showcase what they're doing and how we can move and find our way to a brighter future. I'm your host, Jim, and I'm here with the one, the only, Marshall Williams. Marshall, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
So just first things first, man, how you doing today?
Man, it's been a long one. It's been a long one. A lot of moving and shaking top of the year, but it's good though. I'm good.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, for sure. Same to you.
Once again, thank you for being with us. You could be anywhere in the world, so appreciate you taking your time.
For sure.
I should do a better job, I think, of setting my man up. Marshall Williams, you're here representing Project Pet, among many other things. Can you just give us a little background about the work that you're doing right now? For
sure. So we're Project Pet. I feel like I say this to you all the time, but yeah, we're Project Pet. We work with the human-animal bond to address substance abuse, mental health, reentry, and housing insecurity. We do that through three main vehicles. The first was our One Health micro clinics, where we work with physicians and care providers, wellness practitioners, and veterinarians to give community medicine. We also have a Release a Leash program, which is mental health through dog training. That curriculum is co-written by the Bay Area Association of Black Psychologists, and we use that to introduce mental health and wellness principles to people in the community through their pets. And then we have a workforce development program where we hook up people who have traditionally have barriers to employment with employment opportunities with Project Pet and in the community as peers.
Right on. A lot for us. We'll definitely unpack that as we move along. But I kind of want to take a few steps back and I guess give people an idea of what got you to that point. What got you into the space where it's like, I wanted to work with animals and that human animal bond and connection?
We always had pets as a kid. I grew up in Marion, Indiana, so it's kind of, we always had pets inside the house as a kid up until about the about the 8th grade. So I've always had exposure to animals. But then in 2000, after COVID, I had a treat brand on Amazon. And during it, trying to figure out how to niche myself against my competitors and really learn all there was to know about the industry, there was a lot of data that just kept jumping out to me about what pets did for mental health, PTSD, anxiety, depression. Like, there's so many things that our communities experience. And at the same time, I had an executive leadership and capacity building contract with an entity, a nonprofit in Alameda County, a mental health speakers bureau, Black Men Speak. A gentleman, Damon Shuja Johnson, was the executive director, and he did 35 years in the California penitentiary system for a crime that he got exonerated from, got out. Now he's executive director of Black Men Speak, and there was a curve there that we helped him work with him and negotiate. And during that time, we were seeing like all of his friends was come home 35, 40 years, and they come home and they do the same thing, where they sleep on this couch and they get a job, then they get their own car, then they get an apartment, and next thing you know, they want a pit bull. He had a pit bull bully. And next thing you know, they want a dog like he got. And so that it started jumping out to us glaringly about what every prestigious medical journal, Ivy League college in the United States was reporting on in terms of pets and what they do for our communities. But it didn't seem like the budgets really matched up with what the data said. And then so we kind of just started marching down that road to fill a gap in the community, connecting people with services through their animals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So when would you say, or when did you officially start Project Pet as it is today?
Like in 2000.
2000?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you said you had the treat brand, so that was about...
Yeah, we were on Amazon. It was funny because my homeboy in LA, we were white labeling for another company at first, and to put them on Amazon is like a pay-to-play thing. And so like you pay for your advertising and however good your marketing is and your assets. Well, we were different because as underrepresented people. We own less than 1% of pet businesses. And so like our assets that we were creating to put online were so much more vibrant and different and truly represented our culture, and we were winning with that formula. It was just about to continue to go down the path, like what really makes us, what are we about, and how do we differentiate ourselves. And it was easy that if we put the work in, like it would be pretty tangible for us to accomplish that way.
Yeah. So you plan on bringing that back? You still doing that? Or?
No, yeah, for sure. That's what we're in the process of negotiating right now with the Oakland Private Industry Council, probation, like everybody, the workforce development program, exactly all the players that we involve.
For sure. Okay, so you know me. I got to talk to you actually earlier this week and learn a little bit about you as a person. We've been colleagues for a minute now, but I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into that journey, right? So you talked about, you've always kind of had the interest with pets starting from a young age, all the way to getting into the, treat space with Amazon, and then now Project Pet. What I would love if you could just take us down that memory lane a little bit, if you could say maybe 2 or 3 experiences or pivotal moments that kind of guided you along this path to where you're at right now. Because I know you actually have a background in sales and stuff like that. So just give the people a little bit more context of who we're talking to here.
So like I'm from Marion, Indiana. The last legal lynching, somebody quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the last legal lynching of a black person was in my hometown. So I grew up in Marion. I'm 29 years in Indiana. I get promoted to Verizon. I was working for Verizon at the time, and I promoted to manage West Coast sales direct marketing channel. I stayed there for about a year. I had to pay back my moving package. Okay, you feel me? Yeah. I forgot what it's called. You feel me?
The moving stipend?
Yeah. They gave me the stipend, and I moved out there. I had to stay a year, so I stayed a year, and I left and started entrepreneurially. I've been an entrepreneur now about 15 years.
Okay.
Dabbled in some other things, marketing, direct marketing, sales, all of that stuff. But my brother was a technology founder, self-taught programmer, and he had an app that around about the time where Facebook was really going up and everything was still new at that time, his app was doing like 30, 40,000 people a day.
Yeah.
And he was a self-taught coder from Indiana. So he had gangstered a meeting with Mucker Capital in Los Angeles, and I took the meeting with him, and that's what put the battery in our back to kind of take entrepreneurship seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that for about 5 years. He committed suicide during that process, and I'm not a coder, so that kind of left a void there that I moved to Silicon Valley to fill. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and so I left Los Angeles to move to the Valley to kind of take that project to the next level.
Okay.
We did that, got into Y Combinator startup school in like 2019, 2018, something like that. Then COVID in 2020. At that time, we was building a human resource technology platform, a digital version of Employee Directory, interactive version of Employee Directory, and people quit going to work. Mm-hmm. That was like a hard stop. it was like hard stop, and that was pretty much all. Yeah. And we had humped that thing for so long, trying to get it to the next level. You feel me? Because I'm not a coder, and this is Silicon Valley, and I'm from Indiana. So how you think that went? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in Y Combinator startup school, and I'm surrounded by everybody, all the millionaires and billionaires come in there and they talk to the class and this and that. And COVID happened, so I really didn't get a chance to really fully apply everything. It was just a hard stop. So it's like, okay, what can you do? It's like, I just did technology as a non-traditional, founder. I could do anything. But we went hard right because, we made dog trees. I really see, for you, okay.
So you had to figure out a way to kind of circle back and
play to your strengths. And bring it all together. And that I always have been passionate about working with people that's hard to reach because I'm hard to reach. And it was kind of obvious that there were some angles in the pet space that I could make my own and kind of give direct contribution and input to. And so then we just got started with that. But Project Pet was where I got the chance to put into work everything that I had learned from trying to do the technology piece, because it was a huge learning curve, obviously. And that taught me elite entrepreneurship at that level. And then so Oakland was the time where I really got a chance to apply it. And that's how we got Project Pet.
Oh, so how long have you been in the Bay Area? 'Cause I know you said you was in LA and then
like
Valley.
10 years.
About 10 years. In
San Jose for 5.
So you pretty much, town business now.
For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. I just wanted to kind of, I guess, give people more context, like I said, because I've had the chance to learn this story a little bit. But I'm still kind of putting pieces together as far as, like, seeing how those early memories, the last black man being lynched to, the unfortunate demise of your brother, like, how that can kind of inform what you're doing right now. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, because it all had to make sense for me, like as I'm going, because this is all happening. I'm getting older, and it's like, okay, all of these things that are kind of in me that make me who I am had to coalesce into something that made sense for right now. And so when I look back at all of the things that kind of, entrepreneurism, a lot of key deaths early, being passionate about working with my target population, like being a former correctional officer and a training sergeant, all of these things, a hostage negotiator, all of these things kind of came into place with working, because I've been around. His father was a pastor, mom was a school teacher. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So all of these things lent themselves to the things that I'm still passionate about right now, and kind of moving the needle in the area in animal welfare, social service space. The things that compromise the industry are kind of also things that make me who I am. Mm-hmm. I
want you to lock in on that last sentence right there, because I think you just said something that might have went over a lot of people's head.
What I say?
That there's I interpreted like almost a gap in the space, or the shortcomings of the space currently, or almost your strong points.
Yeah, it's one of the last industries, and probably because you thought that tech, with the boom of the tech industry, is you think of that as it's an archaic business is what I'm trying to get at. When I go to the Global Pet Expo in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going there and it looks like I'm at a farm convention. Nobody looks like me. It's like older European people with suit jackets and all of this stuff. It's nothing like what I think about when I think about pets, and from my perspective. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so when we got to look at, I was informed by the data. So Generation Z and millennials are the largest demographic of pet owners, and we're half ethnic, right? But we own less than 1% of pet businesses, right?
So that kind of circles back to that thing that you were saying about the treats. All I had to do was insert my culture and, my experience, and then all of a sudden we got
in a professional, in a professional, in an elite way. Right, that's where we're looking to do, because it's like, if I am the largest demographic of pet owners, but I own less than 1% of the business, and this business affects my health, then there's a mismatch here. Right. You feel me? All of these places, if you just pet a dog and it decreases your cardiovascular risk and your diabetes and your stress level and your cortisol and all of this shit. Well, where's the representation, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like where I went with it. And I'm a knucklehead, and I appealed to those like me. So it made me want to stand up, because I'm like, is anybody else looking at this? Is anybody else seeing it like I see it? Because it's ridiculous that that the resources are not in the community, but the pets do so much for us. And so it made me look at, every time I see a homeless person of color with a pet, like they do in society a favor, right? Because that's one less that you got to kill. And that's what they do in shelters that are no kill, right? So it's like, on a humane level, you have someone that most people say would judge their lifestyle, but they're taking care of another life. You know what I'm saying? And so all of these things, without representation and us having the largest demographic, we got to be in there.
Word.
And I think that there was a lot of opportunity to really speak to the population that animal welfare compromises. You know what I'm saying? Animal welfare is prized generally by white women, and that have really held down that industry, white people in general, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to step. It's about participation for me, moreover inclusion. We could sit around and wait for them to include us in the thing, or we could participate, and we chose to participate.
I like that.
And pick up where there was a gap.
Yeah. So kind of just addressing what you said, there's a couple of touch points I'm recognizing, at least. Like when you talk about participation, you're talking about not just from the industry perspective, but also just from, I guess, the social perspective of like recognizing, like you said, when somebody who's kind of down on their luck is actually taking a step out to take care of another living being. Where I'm kind of going with this is, what would you say is the impact that you're looking to drive with the work that you're doing with Project Pet?
I'm trying to bring down barriers to communication, that we are no different. Whenever you see somebody, you may not like it, but you're seeing a different version of yourself.
That's
now that version might be the opposite end of the spectrum, you know what I mean? But it's still something that is a part of you. And so the thing that I always like to say is, like, we're here to draw a straight line between the 2 million people that are incarcerated on average, shout out to All of Us or None, is there's 2 million people incarcerated in the United States on average at any given time.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, but this is where we're here to draw the line. 2 million people incarcerated. We also euthanize, around, 1.5, 2 million animals each year. These are not rich people's dogs. Mm-hmm. So what is going on in the social / restorative justice environment that's influencing our prison population to be the highest in the country and also producing these outlandish kill rates? Mm-hmm. And if we're not killing rich people's dogs, and there's all of these health language that said our community does not receive access, then we're literally killing things that would help our community recover from the traumas that are inside the situation. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that is a level of participation that requires us to be there and not to wait for somebody else to kind of figure it out for us. You feel me?
I love that word participation that you keep highlighting and emphasizing. I definitely want to just, recognize that. But I wanted to ask you, was there like a kind of light bulb aha moment? Was it a series of moments that made you say, kind of what you're saying about connecting the dots between, what's happening in the prison system, what's happening in the animal shelters, and, in the healthcare space, like identifying that gap? Was there like a, oh shoot, or was it more like you kind of just peep a game progressively?
When I discovered the One Health principle, it's the intersection of environment. So in 2009, the CDC commissioned a division of the federal government to institute this group that they study the intersection of environment, people, and animals, and how if one of them is out of whack, you have to tweak all three. And traditionally, it's like zoonotics, and like how disease transfers from people to animals, animals to people, and affects village, like how close, these types of things they study. But they also look at the environmental factors and how like they influence people and how that influenced animals. And that aha moment came for me when I was working with Black Men Speak, seeing the literal effect of what was going on for myself firsthand. You know what I mean? So like 2022, I discovered the One Health principle, and that kind of, because I always had felt like that, but it just resonated with me and gave me language for how I felt, you know what I'm saying?
Very important.
And so it was super easy for me to understand. It was super for me to easy to understand how I plugged into that, because I was already affecting people's environments that affected them, that got them a pit bull, you feel me? Mm-hmm. And so like that is where it kind of started, when we were just that One Health model and working with Black Men Speak.
Right on. That One Health thing is actually, I think, really, really relevant right now.
Yeah.
I know we're all kind of watching the news and everything, what's going on down in LA. I saw an Instagram post talking about, stuff people don't think about when it comes to these wildfires and everything. People are obviously, worried about their loved ones and their families and trying to make sure that they're secure. But the animals are also displaced. There's actual natural animals that would be in the surrounding environment. So when these fires kick off, it's like people, the animals are kind of passing through neighborhoods and stuff like that. So they were warning people in the post to like bring their animals inside. Well, I would hope they were already inside, but at nighttime, because animals are going to be passing through in ways that you might not see them typically do. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, I think, really just highlights the importance, or that interconnectedness of people, environment, and animal.
Yeah, like it's a lot of people going through a lot with that out there. I had a friend of mine lose her house and everything in it. So But that, yeah, the One Health thing is like super important for contextual purposes to maybe understand the way some of the things that go on in the country and how like it seems like the United States is like, we already know we was polarized, but we become desensitized in the process and have been. So we're trying to change some of that narrative and get people more in contact with themselves and who they are so they can feel more camaraderie with the people in their neighborhood.
Right on. I think that's a perfect segue to kind of where I want to take this next. What is your vision for a brighter future? Whether it's, locally in the, our communities that we see every day, or just, on a grander social level, what do you feel like people should be thinking about, aiming at, pushing, striving for?
Getting uncomfortable.
Say more.
Being more comfortable being uncomfortable. I want to see more cross collaboration between agencies that have not traditionally worked together and may come from different social paradigms. So like it's gonna take everybody to do this. Like the stuff, we in Oakland, California, homie. So I feel like the vision of the future I see is collaborative and is collaborative and interdisciplinary between the community being involved in their aftercare models. Like I say the community, I mean like us, like reentry community, poor people, black people, like the underserved community as a whole being involved in their aftercare models for their health, and underserved communities being able to have more ownership in the way that we produce our mental health outcomes. But generally, I'd like to see a future that works more closely together between people who would typically maybe not.
Right.
Because for me, like I'm not doing something right if I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah. Steve Nash had a quote say, get uncomfortable being. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's a lot of soft.
It's kind of stuck with me too.
It's a lot of soft people that's like pacified into their positions.
Yeah, it's like the idea of the echo chamber, right? Like people only follow people who saying exactly what they want to hear, and if you're talking that other stuff, block, delete, whatever.
Yeah. So getting outside of helping to affect people to push past their comfort zones towards the solutions that we all need. But, a lot of people complain about it. They don't really want to do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely, I think friction is kind of a requirement. There's an analogy where somebody, I think it was Steve Jobs, was talking about like I don't remember exactly the whole story, but it's like he had this container of rocks and he had to like put them all in this little, shakeable tube. And of course you're going to hear the noise and you're going to get the clanging together, but what comes out is like a smooth rock or something like that. That's kind of, I butchered that. But point being, it's like, the friction is a requirement oftentimes to get to the desired outcomes.
Yeah, and because a lot of times it seems like we want to be pacified into our results. And it's like, it doesn't really work like that, and helping people to know that to view themselves in a light where they understand that they can push past those uncomfortabilities into the life that they see for themselves. Like that's where we're trying to build that resiliency and self-sufficiency.
You said something when you were kind of detailing Aftercare. For those who don't know, I'm one of them. Can you just unpack that a little bit?
So just like after you go, in a basic high level, like after you go to the doctor, like what's your treatment plan? So you had the surgery, or you know what I mean? You had the surgery. Now what do you do after that? You had the heart attack. What do you do after that? You experienced the mental health breakdown. You have already been kicked out of your house. Now like what do we do after?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And what's your follow-up regimen? Are you supposed to exercise? Are you supposed to take your medication? Like what's the deal? And when the community is involved in those models, that is like your uncle comes with you and isn't involved in speaking with your doctors and understands what's going on and follows up with you, at that interpersonal level, your treatment outcomes are different.
Right.
So you may use less medication. You may not have to go back for a second surgery. You may not be rehospitalized. You may not recidivate back into prison. And so like it's all along those same lines of like after you're being cared for, right? You had a situation, you've been cared for, but how do you maintain your life after that?
Yeah, I love that, because I think oftentimes we think about healthcare, or healthcare service at least, as kind of an event, right? Like I'm going to the doctor, and then hopefully I'm good after. But that sustained care, that sustained program, I think is something that's definitely important and underrated.
Yeah, for sure.
So we talked a little bit about people needing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and having that friction to drive things forward. What do you think that looks like on a because we're all about tangible actions to find a way. So what do you think people can do just to kind of start moving the needle in that direction?
Find a local nonprofit organization and give them some of your time.
Talk about it. Because there's so many avenues.
Yeah, like just like so many avenues, and everybody's quick to be inspired and want to jump in and build something. But it's like there's a lot of organizations that already need support.
That's a word.
And you want to make sure that you're building something that needs to be built. And so, like, for me, it's important to make sure that, like, I like, because I got a lot of friends. I got friends on the, upper socioeconomic status. I got friends with a different set of socioeconomic status. And the vision I see is both of them realizing that neither one of them is different than the other one. You know what I mean? Ethnic people did not create the opioid epidemic. You feel me? It's just not enough of us to create an opioid epidemic, right? I don't
know where to get them.
So like other people are suffering. We had our cocaine thing. Like the opioid thing is there for other people, right? So this notion that I'm making my money and I did my thing, like it's coming out in other ways for a different set of people, right? And the divorce rate is up 75%, and all this is happening for everybody. Like minorities are not the main group of people contributing to these alarming statistics about what's occurring for us socially in America.
Social,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we're not. There's not enough of us, but we do get these. When we do get these things, we get these things hard and harder.
Right.
Maybe in some different ways we experience them though. So. My bad. What
can people do? You say get involved.
Yeah. Find an organization to give them some of your time. And if you can't find one that really speaks to you, then let's not be so selfish with our gifts. You know what I mean? Like we put a lot of stock into curating these LinkedIns, and we talk all of that shit on LinkedIn. Can we do that? No, I'm sorry.
It's good.
Okay. We talk all of that stuff on LinkedIn, and we put a lot of pride into curating these really thought-provoking profiles. But then where's the follow-through with all of these adjectives, like in society at a societal level? Like,
yeah, I think that's a interesting point, because LinkedIn is probably my least favorite social media. It's a very important tool, but what you just said about how people kind of put on that front, like, oh, I'm an XYZ. You hear titles you never heard of on LinkedIn, but it's like, where's the work, right? And like, I feel like it's almost worse than Instagram in a way where people kind of like puff their chest out and flex a little bit. On Instagram, it's more with the imagery. On LinkedIn, it's a lot with the words. It's like, I'm doing this, but it's like, when you dive deep into it, it's like you don't really see people doing the work, and you don't see people finding the people that are doing the work to collaborate. And that's really what the tool was, I thought, supposed to be for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Like being young and upcoming and scrappy, it's like you'd be surprised the amount of professionals, CEOs and director level, that are not taking enough care of themselves properly to... They're not taking care of themselves enough to properly collaborate. You don't have no stamina.
Yeah. and I think that we kind of default to maybe what we've been entrenched in, or some people will argue human nature. I rebuke it. But we go back to that competition as opposed to collaboration. Because, I'm not filled within, I feel like I have to make sure you know what I'm on and what I'm about, as opposed to, you know, coming humbly and, you know, trying to find out the common ground with people.
Yeah,
it's just,
is everybody coming to try to impose? Like, because I like ideally the relationships at work. I have something, you have a different set of skills. We have the same goal, and now we're going to put them together to accomplish something. But like. It's very. Do you know how hard it is to collaborate with somebody? You got to listen. You got to shut up. You got to move your ego. You have to be able to work and be flexible. You have to do all of those things. If you're not taking care of yourself properly, if you're not seeing yourself in the proper light to know that you're big enough to have the space and time to let people be themselves and not have to make them. Well, he did it like this. I just can't work like that. I just can't work. Well, you're not going to have a lot of collaboration.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a lot of people. Like, people are going to be difficult to work with. People are going to have to go through their things. It's like, but are you of the bandwidth in your head where you can assume this responsibility? Because it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, then how can you get that? How can we get you coached up to create that space for yourself? Because it's showing somewhere in your life. If I sit with you long enough, I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? So it's like either we're gonna figure out ways to work these are man-made problems that we're suffering from. There's a man-made problems in Oakland. This is not no alien extraterrestrial. No, we did this. So that we got to undo it. And we can't do that if the healers are not healed, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the part. Yeah, the healers have to be healed. We have to be, like I said, right within. How you going to win if you ain't right within, right, Lauren?
Yeah, Lauren.
But yeah, because what you just said kind of triggered me a little bit. You know, everybody has, I think, you know, we're people, we're human. And I told you I'm doing this fast, right? So I'm at the tail end of a 72-hour fast. And I've kind of been laying low, keeping my energy moderate and stuff like that. But today, me and my girl did some core exercises. And she was taking me through these exercises. And she did this one thing that I just did not have the energy for. Because, like, she broke her fast earlier. She ate. So it was like, that's my excuse at least. She's doing the pose all perfect. And I'm like, I'm getting mad. She's trying to tell me, hold it like this, do it like that. And it's like, you know, in my normal state when I'm full,
I can do it.
when I'm, you know, even if I couldn't do it, I would have been more receptive to, okay, she's just trying to show me how to do it properly. But because I'm hungry, I'm irritated, I'm not whole within, it's like, shut up. Don't talk to me. I want to do it my way. And I think that's what we see, you know, in a lot of different ways. It shows
1,000%.
in society,
Because it'll make you burn out. It'll make you have compassion fatigue. It'll make you do this whole thing. And that is because there's something that's out of balance somewhere. And like, well, for you, it was the food. For other people, it's something that is out of where there's something in us that is lacking why we do not have the capacity for X.
You know, I don't want to cut you off, but what you just said made me think of, I found this study a while back where it was like, they call it the Good Samaritan study. So they had people kind of walking by on the street and something, they show somebody that's in need or in trouble, and, you know, if the person is not in a rush, they're way more likely to try and lend a helping hand. But if they feel like, oh, I gotta catch this interview, I gotta get this bus, you know, empathy and sympathy is out the door, because it's like we in survival mode. People, you know, trying to eat, trying to make sure they taken care of, and I feel like that's that pressure that we're all kind of under in the system that we're in right now.
Yeah, and it needs to be viewed as that and nobody's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody got pressure on them. When I'm over driving in Silicon Valley for 4 years, at the same time I'm going to try to get this app off, I saw the amount of pressure that other communities had on them to perform in some of those jobs, right? And so they in there and their boss is talking to them crazy, right? Crazy.
And we think the grass green, right?
Yes, it's not. It's not. Like we got our stuff in our culture and this and that, but and we got that in our culture too, but that they getting smoked, and nobody wants, no father is comfortable with when they getting smoked from their boss and their job is in jeopardy. And I'm literally hearing conversations like this, you know what I mean? And these are, you know, guys making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, you know what I mean? That's bread, but they got the pressure of God on them.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm like, oh yeah, everybody get a little of that. You know what I mean? So let's not internalize it like it's just us, because everybody got it. But let's figure out how we can fix ours.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, just circling back, like recognizing that even if it's a different struggle, everybody got a struggle.
Yeah.
And, you know, finding that humanity and that, once again, common ground with each other is so overlooked. On a high level, anything in the world, if Marshall is president, what's something that you hope that we can find a way to achieve as people in your lifetime?
How can we integrate animal welfare and social services?
You did that though, no?
Well, not to my satisfaction.
Tell me more.
Because it's like on one hand you got animal welfare saying, save the dogs, save the cats, and save the whales, and all of that. So we talking about saving the dogs. Well, whose dogs are we saving? We saving poor people's dogs. And who dropped the dog off at the SPCA? Mm-hmm. There's 3 reasons why, at least in Oakland, there's 3 reasons why a dog is released. It's like a housing issue where the person can't have a pet, a training issue where something is going wrong, where it's producing some kind of, and the person cannot deal with the behavior of the pet, or it's like a veterinary care issue. Mm. And so unless like Harvard and Stanford and Berkeley are lying about what the pets do for us, then the pets that we do have are integral to our livelihoods in a way. And so being able to integrate animal welfare and social service in a way that is beneficial to both communities would breed benefits for both communities. But for that to happen, like animal welfare, socioeconomics contributes directly to pet ownership, right? So to the degree that you are married, have above average income, and all of this stuff means you'll probably have a pet. I want the above average socioeconomic people to understand that by considering the person that is dropping off the pet at the SPCA, they are helping the pet. And that's going to require them to put down some of that pride, some of that ego, look across the party line and understand where voting a different way, spending your money in a different way, and supporting in a different way, finding a way to get that empathy in your life will produce a different result that you've been chasing for a while. Because like you want to put a dent in, if you really want to put a dent in the causes that you say you care about, you'll change the way that you behave. Mm. And like, so that is what I would like to see in my lifetime. I would like to find a way for society to look at itself and examine where our empathy is, and then make some appropriate choices towards our health.
I got nothing. That's beautiful. What you detailed kind of to me sounds like zooming out a little bit and thinking more holistically, as opposed to like, everybody has their agendas, everybody has their departments, everybody has their focuses. But it's like what you said about, if you were to actually address the owner, if you're working with the pets and stuff like that, you will see the outcomes that you're looking for. So how do people, like, what do we do to kind of drive that mindset shift? Because, yeah, we all know it's like collaborate, it's like, the answers have been written in the book. We know what's up. But it's like, what are some things that we can, do to actually get
this
people
is so easy. This is so easy. I love this question. It's so easy. Be the change you want to see.
Shout out to
That's
him.
The hardest thing. It is impossible. It is impossible not to complain and make the changes that you would talk about and keep them to yourself and make them for you. It's impossible. But that's the mark of character. That's the mark of an individual, of a person that is functioning in their humanity, right? Like if you can do that, you've made it. A lot of rich people can't do that. A lot of poor people can't do that. This is a particular type of individual that can take themselves outside of this and put themselves into that capacity. And so like, and I want us to find that. I want each of us to find that, to be the change that we want to see consistently and regularly, not when it's a fad, not when it's a season. But this thing is about putting on the brakes more over stepping on the gas. And everything that you got is already inside of you. But if you're looking at this in the wrong paradigm, you're going to miss it. You're going to blame. You're going to point the finger. You're going to do a lot of stuff when you can just be the change that you want to see and then watch your circumstances change.
Yeah. You dragging me today, man. 'Cause every time you said pumping the brakes instead of hitting the gas. And when you were talking, I was like, I feel like I'm usually pretty good at being a change I want to see, but you know when I'm not? In traffic. When I'm on the road, everybody's wrong except for me. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna drive up the express lane and cut over at the last minute like that guy that I hate.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
it's like it's very easy until it's not, right?
Yeah, until it's not. Tell us your number. Like traffic is your thing. You know what I mean? Other stuff might not be your thing. Traffic is your thing. But that's where that's where we're gonna test you.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna test you when we know you don't care about. We know you don't care about this, Jiminy. We know you don't care about that.
Right.
We're gonna test you when you're in traffic. Figure out how you respond. Right. That's the mark. Where's we're gonna find you at. And so like then it's like who you think you is, why you gotta be that, like where are these thoughts coming from in Jim's head, where he's like these are the type of things that we want people to take a step back and say, because you got traffic, I got mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the time when I'm on that level, you can't tell me that, Marsha, it's just not that.
Right.
Like, bro, you're just you can't tell me that.
It's like, no.
But that's my work. You know what I mean? That's my work.
What I think you just really highlighted there is tying back to that mental health element of it all, right? Like people being aware of and monitoring their triggers, because, like you said, everybody has that thing, and it might not be something that pops up for you every day. You might be Mr. Level Head, but if
you got
traffic,
something.
you go, and it takes a certain level of, once again, humility, self-reflection to identify, recognize, and then actually want to do something about that said trigger. But then it ties back into, that's the required work. And I'm happy that you said that, because happier people make happier societies. At the end of the day, it's like going back to, if you're right within, then you can move properly.
Yeah.
So
this is not about like in my privilege to be able to come from, marrying and move around in so many different kind of circles and circles and socioeconomic classes and this and that and the other all around, the world. Like the mark of a man, the mark of a woman is their ability to do that. You can't hide behind your money and your profession all your life. It comes out in your family life. Your family knows, you know what I mean?
They know who you are.
They know who you are. Your wife knows who you are. Your girlfriend knows who you are. Your kids know who you are. On a level, you know who you are. You know what I mean? And so like, that is the mark. That is where we want society to be at. Everybody like to hold up their job title and their money and their car, but like this is what the status calls
now you
for,
got
bro.
Me in a utopia world. Instead of people puffing their chest with titles on LinkedIn, what if you had to list your triggers on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
What kind of world would that be?
How did you respond to your last trigger, bro?
Right.
And just play it like don't play right there.
Don't put your salary. Put your
We just want to see how you responded to your last trigger, right?
That'll tell me everything I need to know.
Period. I like that. And you'll watch the best of them fail.
Man, speaking of triggers, I'm going to go a little bit off script right here, because we're talking about pets, man. Marshall, what can you personally do for me when it comes to this dog shit in Oakland, California? If I step in one more, you gonna see a trigger.
This all has to do. Yes, because it all has to do with where we functioning. Who's paying attention? That's what they do. What we do when nobody's paying attention. What do we do when nobody's watching? We leave dog shit.
I'm guilty. I'm not gonna lie. Once again,
you know what I'm saying?
Same thing in traffic. I recognize I have to be the change.
Yeah.
But I don't got a dog currently, so I'm gonna put that on y'all. But
yeah, no, for real. Like, what do we do when nobody's watching? We vote crazy. We leave dog shit on the ground.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever heard of shopping cart theory?
No, hit me.
It's essentially what we're talking about right now. Shopping cart theory is the litmus test, the measure of a man. Because, when you're going back out of grocery shopping and you get to your car, you unpack everything, there's two kind of people in the world. There's the guy that's going to put it in that little rack, and there's the guy that's going to leave it in the parking spot. Or,
Yeah.
And, it goes back to that when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Because nobody is going to beat you up, or nobody's going to find you're not banned from the grocery store if you don't put your shopping cart back. But it's like, it's the right thing to do typically. So, there's a guy that goes out there and picks them all up in a big ass line. So it's like, why not make his job easy, right?
And bro, and when he's doing that, when we leaving the shopping cart crazy, we doing about 5 or 10 other things in our life that's sloppy, that we don't have time for, that we don't think nobody is watching, and then mad we got to go pay the therapist, or mad we in the church every time it's a service, or something like that. We got to use every program and service that there is ever made because we don't want to just do simple stuff.
And it's sad because I feel like where it comes from is like, of course, you know, there's the time pressures and everything like that, the environmental factors, but there's also that element of, well, they ain't doing this, why should I do it? Or like, you know, there's going to be somebody that leaves dog shit on the ground, so therefore I am not obligated to pick this up.
Yeah, you could be surrounded by dog shit, and it's like, well, just surrounded by dog shit. What's one more shit? You know what I mean? Well, one more shit is what leaves it. For real. One more shit is what leaves Oakland the way it has been with all of this bipping and robbing, because it's like nobody's really paying attention. We could just do it like this.
Yeah, it's wild.
Nobody really paying attention. We could just say it like that, and they'll just let us off the hook.
Yeah.
You know.
But back to, I guess, asset-based framing and solution-oriented framing. What is something that you think that could be done about that? Or have you? I know, because I feel like you've thought about this a little bit.
Yeah, too much. I mean, other than being the change you want to see.
I was gonna say, like, maybe thinking from more of a structural level, like, because I remember we had a conversation a little bit about like the way that streets are designed, even could like help a little bit with that problem.
Yeah, I mean, you got the city planning, structural engineering type, but for me, it's I don't know, man. Like, you
ain't got the answer, so
yeah. I mean, I can't say I got that. My answer doesn't change. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but just everybody just pump the brakes a little bit.
Pick it up.
Just pick the shit up, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. Put the cart back.
Yeah.
Start there. You know what I mean? Like, before you got outside the house and you started messing that up and leaving your dog shit in your cart, you did some shit inside your house. Clean that up.
Yeah.
Start there. Start in the bedroom, bro. You know what I mean?
Make your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
America.
So it's just basic stuff. Take the time to floss your teeth. You know what I mean? Like, these simple things that create time to give you time back in your life will make you don't feel pressure, don't make you feel like this, because the circumstances are going to be there. They're going to be there. Life works like that. But how we respond to them is on us. And so like the mechanisms that involve us slowing down and being contemplative about our actions and mindful and all of that stuff that was buzzing, like all of that stuff's true. I just want us to do it.
Yeah. No, I think that's an excellent point. I always kind of have this thought where it's like, because, you know, I'm an athlete, basketball guy.
Sure.
So it's like, over the years, I kind of developed this framework of, am I taking on energy or am I emitting energy, right? So
Yes.
It's like, sometimes you're just going to get bad calls. Sometimes you might miss every single shot. But it's like, are you being a victim of the environment or the circumstance, or are you being yourself no matter what? Are you doing things you can control, right?
Yeah. We don't need any more victims.
Yeah.
We don't need no more victims. I mean, no. This is about coming out of that victim mindset. Like, don't get it. Like,
Take the bull by the horn.
Yeah. This is about coming out of our victimized mindset.
Right on. So I guess kind of on that note, what are some ways that people can tap in and get involved specifically with Project Pet and yourself?
For sure. So we got Project Pet. We have the Bay Area One Health Coalition, which is the nonprofit designed to kind of oversee the way that we administer services at Project Pet, and the rest of our partners contribute. So it's projectpet.org is the website, _project_pet on Instagram. Get in contact with us to volunteer, donate, let us know, if you've used our programs, give us feedback. That kind of stuff.
Would you say, for the name for Project Pet, was it influenced by Project Pet?
Sure, 1,000%.
Or was it influenced by Pet Project? Or what was your thought process?
Pet. Project Pet, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I love that. Unless you have any other thoughts around where we could take this, I just want to make sure, if there's anything that you want to make sure that people know, the mic is yours. I want to know that thought.
Pick your dog shit up.
People,
pick the shit up.
Start there.
It'll
take us a long way. Well, if nothing else, brother, I appreciate you. Like I said, you could have been anywhere. It's a beautiful Friday.
For sure.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Shout out Project Pet, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, and elsewise, Marshall Williams.